Welcome to Spenelli Speaks. Hi everyone, Danny here. Welcome back to my channel. It is part 3 of my reading vlog for all of my subscriber recommendations. And as you can tell, I have very wet hair right now. I am sitting outside because it's so muggy and hot that when I'm inside, like, I couldn't even get the hair dryer out because I'm like, I'm sweating already. I literally just took a shower and I'm already, like, my whole back is all sweat. You're thinking, Danny, well, why'd you go outside? Isn't that where it's hot? No, it's worse inside. We don't have our air on. We have the windows open because there is a breeze. But, like, you know how it is when you get out of the shower and you're like, ugh, like the back of my neck. Like, I'm going to end up putting my hair up, but I kind of wanted to wait a little while for it to dry. I don't know why I'm telling you this. You don't need to know why I'm sweaty. But, ugh. It's been a busy weekend, so as you know, I typically film most of my vlog stuff on the weekends because that's when I do most of my reading. Yesterday was a weird day. I kind of just lounged around. I took my soon-to-be stepdaughter to get some clothes for school, even though, I mean, they're not really going to school. They're going to be virtual, but you know how it is. You keep doing the same things because you want to have some kind of normal. So I got a few clothes, and gosh, she looks more older and older every time we get new clothes. She's like, obviously she's gonna be 14 in January, but it's just crazy. I just remember when she was just so small. And anywho, that's another story. But today we need to go grocery shopping, which is not fun. I mean, I like going grocery shopping, but at the same time, it's like, ugh, I want to just sit down and read. Speaking of reading, so before I get into that, actually, I have to tell you, it has been an amazing week. It's been super busy for me on the real world zone. Like, work's been really exhausting, and, you know, just getting home and, you know, basically going to bed early because you're just so exhausted. But, so Kieran from Katie Books, he just had a baby. Like, not him, but obviously his wife. But baby Hazel. So make sure you jump over his channel and say congratulations. He also was kind enough to shout me out for the upcoming Crime and Punishment read-along, which if you are interested in that, make sure that you comment below and let me know if you'd like me to add you to the Boxer chat. That's gonna be super fun. But that was just so nice. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like, oh, it's just so nice to be shouted out. Then later on, actually last night, I was making salsa and I'm just like, I want to watch a video while I'm doing this. And I see that Peg has a new video loaded up, Peg from the history shelf. And I'm like, oh, I'll watch this. So I'm just like chopping along, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, Dwight! Knock it off. And all of a sudden, there she is, talking about me. And I'm like, what? So that was so nice. And then I'm like, over 400 subscribers. Jaws dropping. I mean, what a week. These people are just so amazing. It's just so nice to know such wonderful people. So if you haven't already subscribed to either of those channels, they are spot on. Way better than my channel, but like, they are just wonderful people. So make sure you jump over there. I'll put all the links in the description below. So reading. What have I been reading now that we're almost 5 minutes into this? So I have finished a few books. I finished A Woman Is No Man by Etaf Rum. I think I'm going to be giving it like 4 stars. I did really enjoy it. It was really good. Like I said in my previous vlogs, the perspective is really interesting to me, as I have not yet really read that perspective. And I just now downloaded the book called An Ungrateful Refugee. I can't remember the author's name, but the book was so interesting to me that I kind of wanted to read a nonfiction based on it, or based on the same kind of idea. So I found that one on my Hoopla account for an audiobook. So I'm going to be listening to that soon too, because it's just very interesting. So that was good. The only thing, and probably the reason why I didn't give it 5 stars, I mean, it's a solid 4. I don't know that I would have given it 5 stars, but the ending. So, not to give any spoilers away, but the way in which the ending unravels, it really relies on the reader to put pieces together, but not... To me, I was a little unnerved by the fact that I had to remember one little piece of information that I read in the beginning of the book in order to understand what happened at the very end. And that to me is irritating. I have no problem with, you know, the author allowing the reader to put puzzle pieces together, but in a book like this, where it's not like a cozy mystery, just tell us what happened. Don't have something happen and then that be it, that be the end of the book, and I have to go, wait a minute, and then I have to think back to page 50 where this other character said something and that's the clue that locks that into place. I don't like that. So that was a little irritating to me, because I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, and then I had to like recall different situations, and I'm like, okay, and I had to like think about the timeline, and I had to think about like which things were going and which place was where and who was who, and then I was like, okay, is that referring to, and then it was like, I shouldn't have to do all of this work. You know what I mean? Dwight! You are gonna go inside if you cannot be nice. If editing has not gotten out my dogs, my dog Dwight is being a little jerk right now, so I apologize if I'm not able to edit out everything. Then the other book that I finished was actually my buddy read with Emily and Ange, from Ange with an E, Emily from Novelle Novels. Again, anyone that I comment on, I pretty much put in the description, so if I miss you, just let me know and I'll make sure I fix that. But so I finished North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I'm giving that one a 5-star because for a classic, I mean, something happens in every single chapter. Like, typically I feel like when I read classics, it's like you'll have something happen and then it'll be nothing, 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 boom. Nothing, 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 boom. And then you're like, it's like 500 pages of just like 4 main things happen. This book, I feel like every single chapter, something happened. Like, something happened to push the plot forward. Man, if I could say, so many people died in this book, and like, you know, natural causes, whatever, but like, what the heck? Why are these people dying? Like, there is so much death in this book. I mean, I can't believe there are any characters left at the end. And it's not, I didn't think it was that kind of book, but I mean, there are a lot of people, I mean, and it's completely natural, but like, okay. But it's really good. I mean, Margaret and John, who are the main characters, are just really appealing. And I was telling Ange and Emily that I would love, like, you know, we're seeing all these books that are being, like, written from the opposite perspective. Wouldn't it just be a really fun book if it was written in the perspective of John Thornton, like, the male character? Because, like, we see a little bit of his perspective, and he's just, like, so unhappily in love with Margaret throughout, like, the whole book. And I'm saying unhappily because she's, like, not giving anything back. And I'm just like, wouldn't you just love to see his perspective and, like, why he loves her and, like, why he is like pretty much committed himself to like misery for the rest of his life because she turned him down, and like it's just like, what? So I would love to see his perspective like in a full blown book. I think that would be fun. So I finished those two. I just started To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I have that on audiobook. That was a recommendation from Laura at Book Bubbler. I also am about 100 pages into The Serpent King, which is a young adult book that was recommended to me by Linda at Linda's World of Books, and it's so weird. Like, that's the best way to say it. I'm reading it and I'm like, is this a real thing? So it's about this boy, his name is Dill, and he is kind of in a really crappy situation because so his father has been incarcerated, and his father was like a pastor at their church, and he was incarcerated for having basically underage sex stuff on his computer or something. But he's a pastor for this Presbyterian church where they like hold snakes and like drink poison and like do really weird stuff. And I'm like, and I mean, weird for me. I mean, I don't know if that's a real thing, like to each their own. But I was like, they do what? Like, is this a thing? So I'm like really just kind of getting into it. So there's 3 main characters, and it switches between their perspectives. There's Dill, who's like I think the main character, and then there's his friend Travis, who also kind of has a crappy life at home. His older brother passed away in the military, and he's like kind of almost living in his shadow, but his dad is really hard on him, like is one of those like stereotypical fathers who like literally sitting in the armchair basically telling you what to do as you walk in, saying you're not good enough and that you have to be a man, join football because you need to be a man, like that kind of character. And then the mom in the kitchen going, oh, your dad means well, he loves you, and blah. Like totally, like, it's been written before. It's nothing new. It's like literally just plucked out of a different thing and put in there. So I could just blaze through those because it's I've seen it before. But Travis is like in these chat rooms about this book that he really likes, and he's like talking to this girl who also likes it, and they're like becoming friends. And then the third person is this girl, and I can't remember her name now, but she's like an Instagram sensation who is like about fashion and stuff, and she's got all these followers. I think she's a little bit bigger, like not like a stick figure. I think so. She gets made fun of at school. She gets bullied because she thinks she's better than everyone else. Like that's the cliche because she has this Instagram following, and so they all 3 get picked on, like they get bullied and whatever. And I was telling Laura at Book Bubbler, I'm like, man, I really hope there's magic in this book because like I don't know, like what is this book gonna be about? I'm not that far in, guys. I'm like 100 pages in, so I'm sure something will happen that pushes the book forward, because right now I'm just getting the lay of the land, and I'm just like, what is this book gonna be about? Like, am I just gonna read about 3 kids going through high school? Because that's gonna be boring, because like I'm totally over that part of my life. Like I'm in my mid-30s, like don't worry, it gets better from here. But yeah, so I'm halfway through that. Ooh, Flatshare. Oh my gosh, this video is so long. So Emily at Novell Novels, she recommended that I read Flatshare. The sound here, I'm sorry. And I was able to get that from Laura from Book Bubbler, so thank you for lending that to me. But Flatshare, I am about 100 pages into Flatshare, and this I know has been all over booktube, so I don't have to really give you a lot of information on it, but basically these two people live in a flat together, but they never see each other because they're on opposite schedules and whatnot. But what you don't tell you on booktube is that the female character has just broken up with a boyfriend who's a total ding dong, and she's like still kind of lamenting over him. And then the male character, he actually has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend is like, she's kind of really rude, and I wouldn't say manipulative, but she's very like territorial. So she makes a lot of snide comments about Tiffy, who is the one that's sharing the flat, because the girlfriend's actually seen her. She's the one that took care of like establishing the connection and renting the flat out. They're coming for me, everyone. They're coming for me. This is what happens when you live on the opposite side of a busy road. But anywho, every time that she's spoken about, you can tell like she's not a good person. Like, she really makes Leon, who is the male character, who he is a hospice nurse, she makes him feel bad for doing what he's doing. Like, basically, you're not spending enough time with me. All you care about are your patients. And he's like on the side, he's trying to help one of his patients find an old lover. So he has this patient who fought in World War II and fell in love with another soldier. And so he's trying to help him find his long lost love. And she's like giving him a hard time about it. Like, oh, are you going to spend all of your weekends helping your patients? You don't care about me. And I'm like, seriously. I'm like, why don't you help him? Why don't you make it a thing together? Why are you making it like he has to either spend time with you or do his stupid stuff over here? Like, that's not cool. Like, if you love each other and you're in a committed relationship, you either accept that this is the kind of person that they are, or you encourage it and join in. And if they don't want you to join in, then, you know, fine. But, like, making him feel bad for all these nice things that he's... Girl, you need to check yourself. So, I'm... about the 60-page mark, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this book, because there's, like, nothing happening. It's just, like, going back and forth, and the only thing I really liked were the post-it notes, where they're leaving each other notes to each other, and like that was the only part that I was actually enjoying because it was quick. And then you'd start to read about what they're doing, and you're like, this is, what are they, I don't care about your crochet, whatever, But now that this other character has been introduced, Leon's brother, there's some action going on there, and I'm like, ooh, I'm interested to see where this goes. And then on the other side too, there's some other things that are kind of happening. So now that I'm into, like, I think that's all that I'm reading right now. Let me think. Okay, so I talked about Flatshare, Serpent King. I'm reading To the Lighthouse, and yeah, so 3. Oh, and then The Magic Casement. I really need to get into that. It's the ebook. I need to read that. Ramsey, I promise I will read that by the end of the month. I promise. It's just the formatting. That's it. It has nothing to do with the story. It is all about the formatting. So I will get to that. This is almost 20 minutes, guys. I gotta stop here because otherwise this vlog will be forever. But that's all I have to say right now. I will get back to you later. Probably not the best angle, but I am just settling in. I'm in my bedroom and I am about to start my Sunday reading hour with Laura from Book Bubbler. We're still reading our London book, if I have that the right direction. Our Edward Rutherford chunkster of a book. You can tell we started to try to do this whole, you know, tabby thing, and yeah, whatever. But I thought I would check in quickly before I start reading in this book. But today was a weird day because I had to do a bunch of like running around errands, like the grocery store and taking some stuff over to a friend. She's helping me do something for the wedding. And then I did get some reading in of Magic Casement, and I've gotten more of an understanding of like the world a little bit. So there's definitely magic, obviously Magic Casement. So there could be sorcerers. There's also, I think, other kinds of like creatures or different kinds of people. Like I think there was a mention of goblins. I could be wrong on that. Anywho, but the main character, who I believe is like a teenager-ish age person, she is kind of finding out that there's going to be, or is the potential of, war between the kingdoms. And it's kind of been prophesized that her choice in marriage might be the, like, good or evil of it. I don't know how to explain it. Again, because of the formatting of this book that I'm reading, it's hard for me to, like, get it all in my head straight. But there was a scene where she meets a god, but in this it's like god plurals, and it's, you refer to it as they, so it's like plural. And I thought that was really cool because it was like, I guess it means a lot if a god's if they appear to you. So I thought that was really interesting, and we get to see a little bit of her father and a little bit of this other person, doctor something, who she thought was a sorcerer but is not, just kind of an old family friend who is a scholar of some kind. The writing style, I'm feeling, is a little, I don't want to say pedestrian, but I don't know if it's because of the formatting of the ebook, but it just seems very to the point and not very, like there's not a lot of description, I guess. And maybe it's just because I'm getting to that point, but I don't feel like I have a good understanding of the world yet. I just know that they're in a kingdom and that there are certain elements of that, which, yeah, I'm really blaming all of this on the format, this ebook format. Yeah. But anywho, I'm intrigued with the story because I just got to the part, which I think it's like the end of chapter 5, maybe. I don't know, because again, the formatting is so weird. But her father has just basically told her that he's gonna buy her all of these things like scarves and dresses and all of this stuff because she needs to leave. And then that's what I ended on because we had to go grocery shopping. So I'm like, oh, I just got to a good point. And then I also read some more in Flatshare. So I'm about 60 pages farther in from where I was before. So when I last told you about it, I was like on page 100 or something. And now I'm on page 160. And lots of things have happened. And I don't want to give anything away, but good stuff has happened as far as like what I was telling you before about that girlfriend. Good stuff has happened there, which I was happy about. Don't want to give any spoilers away, but yeah, it's good. I'm to the point now where I'm seeing a lot of really great depth of characters, which is really nice. Tiffy, the female character, she is struggling with the fact that she's starting to realize that she was really manipulated in her previous relationship, and that she's still kind of being manipulated by this person. And like, and it's coming back to her in like little glimpses, or like memories are starting to surface. And so I think that's really great topic to include in a contemporary romance such as this, because I think it happens more than people like to admit, where their partner, men, woman, indifferent, it doesn't matter, any person could be a victim of this, but where you start to like think back, and were you really happy? Were the things that you remember actually your memories? So I really like the way that they're fleshing that out, because I think that's a really important topic. So it's getting, there's a lot more depth. I know before when I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this book, but now I'm really starting to like the characters a lot more. I'm finding that they have a lot more to them. Whereas before I was like, I don't know where this is going. Is this going to be just like nothing? But so I have about, I think I'm at like the halfway point essentially. So I am looking forward to the rest of the book. So I better go ahead and find our ASMR that we're going to listen to together, and then hunker into London. I am on page 677. I'm up to God's Fire, which is chapter 12, and this is 1603. So I'm interested to see what this chapter brings us. This is one of the longer chapters. It's about 100 pages long, so we'll be in this one for a little while. But hopefully it's good. Sometimes when they're the longer chapters, weird stuff happens. So yeah, I'll see where I'm at a little bit later. Okay, this is just a quick update because I'm getting ready for work and I need to get on the road. I stayed up until like 11:30 last night reading Flatshare. Like, I could not stop reading it. I finished it because I just wanted to know how it ended. So I think I'm gonna give that one a 4. I can't give it a 5 because there's a few things where I just, a 5 for me really has to blow me away. And although it did keep me and it made me, you know, stay up and listen to it, or not listen to it, read it, and I liked the characters, there were still a few things that were like, okay. And for me, contemporary romances, I don't know that I give them 5s. Unless they're like just like I want to reread them or something. But I finished Flatshare. I am about an hour into The Lighthouse, which is on audio, and I am getting my bearings right now. I'm understanding who the narrators are, or who the protagonists are, and just what's happening, which is usually the beginning of any book. I'm always like, what? Because I don't like try to figure out what it's about before I read it. I just start reading it. So like, I'm gathering my thoughts right now. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is happening. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Magic Casement is getting really good. I'm really starting to understand where that's all going. So that's gonna be really cool. So today and for the rest of the week, I will be finishing The Serpent King, To the Lighthouse, Magic Casement, and I have to start A Garden of New Beginnings by Abby Waxman. So I should be able to do that in a week because there's still a weekend to come up. So I'm really excited about this month. I can't believe the amount of books that I've read, and all of the subscriber recommendations have been really awesome. So I'm excited. I'm doing really good. So I'm going to end this vlog here and talk to you guys again later. But I hope you are reading something great, taking care, and staying safe, of course. And until next time, guys, you know how it goes. Happy reading. Bye.